When it comes to money, entrepreneurship, and banking, what is the attitude of millennials compared to maybe baby boomers or Gen Xers? That is exactly what a new study looked at, and the findings can actually help millennials. The study's co-author and millennials trend researcher Jason Dorsey is here to tell us more about it. And Jason, let's actually start with, who are millennials really?
Yeah, it's a great question. A lot of confusion around that. Millennials in the U.S. are ages 19 to 37. I'm one of them. There's about 80 million of us in the U.S. We're the most diverse generation in U.S. history, more college degrees than any previous generation. And what's so important about this research is that we are the fastest growing generation in the marketplace today, also in the workplace. So we're this tidal wave generation coming of age right now, and people don't know a lot about us. And so that's why we did this research with the Independent Community Bankers of America to figure out what is really going on with us.
With us. And so what did we find out when it comes to what we believe banking means to us?
Yeah, well, there's several things that jumped out in the findings that we weren't expecting. The first is that 36% of millennials, it's over a third of millennials, are actively working on starting their own business right now. That's a huge number, significantly bigger than Generation X and baby boomers. And that's important when we think about banking because, for example, community banks loan 60% of all loans in the United States of $1 million or less to small business. So right there you've got the most entrepreneurial generation ever trying to find a bank that loans to small business. We also found in the research that 70% of millennials, and keep in mind, everybody thinks that we're broke, our pants are falling off, our mom's paying for our car insurance. But what we found is that 70% of all millennials said they wanted more financial education. They wanted to know more about how to manage their finances, which is completely a contradiction to the public perception that we really don't care about money or we're not aware of it. Well, that changes banking because that means we want more personal relationships, and we're going to go to more likely smaller banks, in particular community banks, that are more relationship driven. So you start to see this tidal wave coming in that thinks differently about it. And at the same time, one of my favorite is that almost a quarter of all of us millennials carry less than $5 cash in our pockets every single day, which is why we always need to borrow money from other people.
This is why we have to borrow money. But we're a debit card, Apple Pay kind of generation, I think. So maybe that's why we're not having the
Absolutely.
cash on hand. But do you think the way we're
Absolutely.
looking at finances also has something to do with the fact that maybe millennials are getting married and having babies later?
Yeah, that's a great observation. As you point out, millennials we're graduating from college or university later than ever before, getting married later than ever before, having our first child later than ever before. So we're seeing the whole generation actually push back. We like to call it delayed adulthood. And basically what it means is we're embracing these traditional markers of adulthood later, which then again starts to have this ripple effect of money, whether or not we keep jobs, what we're looking for in a bank. All of that shifts if you're now 28 and have 2 roommates versus 20, 30 years ago where you're 28 and have 2 kids. So it starts to really change how people need to think about us. And what gets me really excited is whoever adapts to us is going to win. Because there's a perception that we're not loyal, and it's totally false. What we discovered is that we have the least established loyalty. So whoever adapts to us is the one that will win us. And in fact, size isn't the advantage that everybody thinks it is. The majority of millennials surveyed said that they would prefer to work with a locally owned, locally operated bank. And if you were to ask the general population, you would assume it'd be the opposite. But that's not the case. So right now is the time that we need to be talking about our generation, because we're at the moment where in 2017, we will outspend baby boomers. And that's a seismic shift when you think about wealth creation and spending in our country. And so much of that, our economy is still based on us being out there spending. So it's such an important topic right now. And it's great to have new original research that actually speaks to some of these questions that we have.
Now, Jason, what I'm kind of taking away is like a good roundabout for this whole research is don't judge us millennials by the book or, the cover of our book. We're actually doing a lot of thinking behind the scenes.
Yeah, you're exactly right. And I think that's part of the public perception that we want to kind of prove is wrong. I mean, a lot of us are out there, we're working, we have jobs, we're doing all the right stuff. Nobody wants to talk about us. Yet at the same time, we're creating tremendous amounts of money. We're moving up, we're doing the right things. And whoever pays attention to us really will win. And like for us millennials, I think part of that is recognizing what type of bank, for example, is really a fit for us. In this case, it looks to be community banks, and being able to say, okay, I need to check that out. I need to go to these websites like ICBA.org and find out more information rather than just going, well, my parents have always banked at this other place, I should go there too, and find out it's not really a fit. As soon as we get treated by a number, we leave. Just like online dating.
It's like online dating. Jason, thank you for giving us millennials a voice. I love that you went and dove into this. Thanks so much for joining us.
I love it. Thank you for having me.
The Morning Blend will be right back.